2026. The largest oncology deal in pharmaceutical history just closed. But it wasn't signed where you'd expect. Not in Boston, not San Francisco, not even in Basel, Switzerland. Shanghai. And that one deal just revealed something Wall Street has been trying to ignore for years. So let's talk about what just happened. Here's the situation. Western drug companies are in trouble. The kind of trouble that doesn't make headlines until it's too late. Venture capital for biotech. Down 60% since 2021. The cost to develop a single drug, $2.6 billion. Success rate, about 10%. The math stopped working. So companies started looking for a different equation. And they found it in a place most investors weren't even looking. For the last 20 years, Western Pharma treated China like a cheap factory. You know the story. Make your pills there, sell them back home. Pocket the difference. That story is dead. In 2026, China isn't where you manufacture drugs. It's where you discover them. And the companies that figured this out first are now billions of dollars ahead of everyone else. Here's why this matters. Whether you're investing in biotech, working in the industry, or just trying to understand where medicine is actually headed, let me give you the numbers that changed everything. Discovering a single antibody in the United States costs between $10 and $15 million. Timeline, 80 to 24 months. Same antibody, same quality, same timeline. In China, $3 to $5 million. That's not a rounding error. That's a 70% cost advantage with zero compromise on speed or quality. In finance, we call this arbitrage. And arbitrage opportunities don't last forever. The smart money is already moving. Don't take my word for it. Let's look at what actually happened. AbbVie, one of the biggest pharma companies on the planet, just paid billions for FutureGen Biopharma's oncology pipeline. Where's FutureGen based? Hangzhou, China. Genentech, owned by Roche. Just licensed breakthrough RNA technology from a Chinese biotech most people have never heard of. This isn't outsourcing to save pennies. This is Western companies buying innovation because China is out-innovating them. The pipeline isn't flowing from west to east anymore. It's going the other direction. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about IP theft? What about geopolitics? What about this whole decoupling narrative we keep hearing about? Fair question. And 5 years ago, you would have been right to worry. The old narrative was China risk. Stolen patents, regulatory uncertainty, political tension. But in 2026, something shifted. The smartest companies stopped asking, should we work with China? And started asking, how do we do this without getting burned? They're using co-development deals with built-in IP protections. They're structuring licenses with milestone payments instead of upfront cash. They're hiring former FDA regulators who understand both systems. The risk is real, but here's the thing. The opportunity costs of ignoring this is bigger, and the data proves it. Here's the part most people don't see. Every major biopharma company now has a dedicated China scouting team. Pfizer, Merck, Johnson & Johnson. They're not announcing it in press releases. But if you look at their job postings, they're hiring business development managers with Mandarin fluency like crazy. Why? Because the math is ruthless. If you can cut R&D costs by 60% and keep the same timeline, you just tripled your return on capital. Companies without this capability, they're leaving billions in market value on the table. And their investors are starting to notice. But wait, there's another layer to this. And it involves, in 2020, AI drug discovery was basically a science fair project. Companies were experimenting, testing, mostly failing. In 2026, it's the entire game. In Silico Medicine in Hong Kong, just used AI to design a phase 2 drug in 18 months. That's a process that normally takes 5 years. Exscientia in Oxford partnered with Chinese AI labs to cut lead optimization time by 75%. Here's the kicker. The Chinese government is pouring $50 billion into AI-driven drug discovery. The US. We're still debating whether to fund the NIH properly. So you've got cheaper R&D costs in China, plus state-backed AI infrastructure, plus a regulatory environment that's faster than the If you're a Western biotech and you're not plugged into this ecosystem, you're not competing. You're already losing. Okay? So what do you actually do with this information? Here's the playbook. If you're an investor, start screening for China exposure. Go through biotech earnings calls. Search for phrases like China partnership, licensing deal, Asian collaboration. Companies announcing these deals see an average 15 to 20% stock bump within 12 months. That's not speculation. That's the pattern. Second, follow the smart money. Funds like Orbimed, Era Capital, Vivo Capital are all increasing China allocations. When institutional money moves, pay attention. Third, watch the ETFs. CHIASH. The China Biotech ETF is outpacing XBI by 30% year over year. That gap is widening. If you're working in the industry, here's what matters. Build relationships now, not next year. Now, the deals are getting done at conferences like JP Morgan Asia and BioChina before they ever hit the newswire. Learn the regulatory differences. China's NMPA approved 48 first-in-class drugs in 2025. The F-19. Understand their pathway. It's faster, but it's different. And if you don't know the rules, you can't play the game. Hire bilingual talent. If your company doesn't have someone who can negotiate in Mandarin and understands Chinese IP law, you're flying blind. Full stop. If you're building a biotech company, consider a dual geography strategy. Incorporate in Delaware for investor confidence, but set up a wholly foreign-owned enterprise in China. For R&D, you get the cost savings, plus access to Chinese government grants. It's not easy to set up, but the economics are impossible to ignore. One warning though, never send raw patient data or proprietary assays overseas. Use pre-competitive collaborations for target discovery. Then bring the IP home. Protect what matters. Look, I get it. This is uncomfortable. It challenges everything we've been told about American scientific dominance. But here's the truth. Science doesn't care about borders. Innovation follows incentives. And right now, the incentives are screaming one thing. Go east. The companies that adapt, that build these partnerships intelligently, are going to own the next decade of drug approvals. The ones that don't, there'll be case studies about what happens when you ignore the data. So, here's where we are. China isn't just a manufacturing hub anymore. It's an R&D powerhouse. The deals prove it. The data backs it up. And the smartest players in pharma are already repositioning. The question isn't whether this trend continues. The question is whether you're positioned to benefit from it. If you found this useful, leave a comment below. What do you think happens next? Does this continue? Or does something shift? And if you want more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe. Next video, we're diving into which specific Chinese biotech companies are worth watching and why some of them are already ahead of their Western competitors. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.